This is SGTV Podcast. I'm Luke Baker. My first guest is Margo Giordano, executive producer of Hi Teresa. As the series concludes this December, I sat down and talked with her about her life and her involvement in SGTV. Thank you for sitting down for an interview.
Of course, Luke.
So, before we get into the SGTV stuff, I just want to back up a little bit. I know you told me a little bit, so how long did you live in New Jersey for?
My dad got a job offer when I was 2, so we moved down to Atlanta, and we've just stayed there ever since, mostly for school reasons, so.
That's cool. So you've been living there for a while.
Yeah. 17 years now, I guess.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I am the one and only. It's the best.
Oh, nice. So am I. Only childs unite.
Yes.
How would you describe your mom and dad and your parents?
These are such weird questions, Luke. My parents love me. I don't think I appreciated them enough in high school, but once you get to college, and especially after your freshman year, freshman year is like, yay, parents. And your sophomore year, living on your own, you have to cook for yourself and do your own laundry and, do your own dishes, and it's like, oh, or not. So I love my parents and I appreciate them. My dad's really chill. He's the fun one, and my mom's the one that makes sure that I get all my homework done and remember to walk the dog and go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any funny stories your family ever tells you about when you come to mind?
Really?
Yeah, really.
Okay, really. So this is the juice story. And it's really one of those you had to be there moments because my dad thinks this is the funniest story ever. And it kind of is. So I was 2, and this was right before we moved, and my mom decided that before we left, she had to walk the Brooklyn Bridge. So she went off and walked the Brooklyn Bridge, left Dad with 2-year-old me. And I was like, I want some juice. Except I said in a 2-year-old voice, so I was like, juice. And so my dad went and got me some juice. Now, my mom's really OCD, and she doesn't know it. So my dad gives me a cup of juice, and I'm like, no, milk, juice. Just like that, exactly like that. That is how my dad describes it. And so this goes on for 30 minutes. I'm throwing a temper tantrum because I want juice. And I'm convinced I've been giving milk. And my mom comes home 2 hours later. I am in the worst mood ever. And my dad's like, why? I've been trying to give her juice. And my mom's just like, as casual as ever. Well, you put it in the milk cup. My mother was so OCD that there was a color for milk and a color for juice. And 2-year-old me had been conditioned to know that juice was one color and milk was another.
Wow. So you were already a genius at 2 to recognize which one was the juice and which one was the milk
I just
cup.
think that's a little bit of Pavlov's classical conditioning.
Okay.
If the dog can do it, so can I.
So where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at Walton, #1 in the state.
Ooh.
Not to toot our own horn or anything.
What do you think some of your best memories that you had at high school were? I know you're part of the, I'm assuming you're
I was part of the
band
band. When it comes to band, my favorite memory was the feeling of winning my first competition, because you can't get that feeling back. It's one of those things, it's like when you get engaged, when you have your first child, you only have that feeling once, and that was one of those for me. But I think my favorite part of high school was senior year. I really started coming into my own, and I met the guy that I'd like to spend the rest of my life with, and I had some really great friends, and I think if I had a happy year, it would have been my senior year.
Oh, that's great. Moving on to some other ones, I guess, leading into that. So what was your first serious relationship?
First serious relationship was freshman year. His name was Buck Lawson. He was a Redhead and a Clemson fan, so obviously it was destined to not work out. But I guess that's when I consider my first serious relationship, but I'm significantly happier with my current boo thang, as we say here on Hi Teresa.
Boo thang. So how did you meet your current boyfriend?
Hayden and I had actually been friends since freshman year. It's just the timing never worked out. We ended up getting together. He was bored and he just texted me one day and we were talking, and I was the only person he how you could send up to 10 texts on the old phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking he's like, oh, I haven't seen the season finale of this show yet. And I'm like, oh, I have it on DVR. It's really great. You should come and watch it. And just as a casual thing. And the thing he says is really sweet, is he was like, when he first walked in the door, he's just like, that's it. Like, we'd known each other since freshman year, but he walked into the door and he's like, that's it.
Wow, sort of had that feeling.
Yeah,
just like,
it wasn't love at first sight, but it was love at a sight, I guess. I don't know. Maybe the lighting was better.
You just saw him in a different light,
Yeah.
I guess. Interesting. I guess after high school, and obviously you came to USC,
Yeah.
what made you decide to come here?
I was not originally going to go to USC. I wanted to go to Florida State. It was my dad's alma mater. I could not get in because I didn't have the SAT scores, and there was no way in hell I was going to take it again. And I came to USC, and my mom's like, oh, you're going to love it. Like, it has really great in-state opportunities, thinking financial. I'm like, no, their mascot is a chicken, and they're called cocks. I'm not going to the school. And then we showed up, and I fell in love with the campus, and I just, I begrudgingly admitted to my mother that she was right, because my mother is always right. And so I applied, I got in, and I had the band scholarship, and now I have a different scholarship that allows me to go for in-state. So it worked out, and it worked out really well.
That's awesome. So what was your first experience leaving home, coming here? Did you have any homesickness, or was it kind of just you came into band and you just fell in love immediately, kind of just adjusted? Or
I definitely wasn't in
while?
love with band. Band is quite tough with the high marching and stuff, but it was really tough the first couple of nights because I was with people I didn't know, but as soon as my roommate moved in, the first night we were together, we were getting along so well, and everything just after that night, everything really just fell into place for me. So
yeah, wow, that's great. What are your majors and or you have a minor yet?
Yes, I do have a minor.
What are you majoring in here?
My major is visual communications. That's a major that's on the academic comm market. That's how I get into state. I basically, with that major, I make pretty pictures for advertising, billboards, magazine layouts, books, packaging, anything you can think of. And then my minor is media arts, which I kind of found through SGTV because a bunch of people here are media arts minors, and it just kind of works out with I really want to make beer commercials. It's just weird.
For Budweiser?
Yeah, Budweiser. I either want to work for Turner Broadcasting, so I have a place to pitch my ideas, for stuff I want to see on a TV screen or a movie screen. But I don't know, I really just think that making Budweiser or Heineken commercials would be really cool. I don't know. I don't even like beer. It tastes awful.
And you just think, I really want to market to those people that just
Have you ever seen a shitty beer commercial?
Not really. There's been a couple boring ones, I would say, but nothing terrible.
Have you ever seen a Clydesdale horse that hasn't made you cry?
That's true, but I think they pick the best of the best for the Super Bowl commercials and everything. Whoever gets that one is definitely. What do you think the most important course you've taken here so far has been?
So far? Ooh, that is a tough one. What is the most important course I've taken since I've been at USC? Probably my first major-related class. It was Intro to VisCom, and I had a professor I didn't see eye to eye with because design's a really subjective thing, and he just wouldn't give me a B, would not give me a B. I would call my mother crying, I don't know if I'm in the right major, am I really making the right choice here? Should I go back to English or something easy? And she's like, Margo, I was an architect major, and there were projects that I would spend literally 3 days on with no sleep, and I would take it in front of my professors for a jury, and they would just rip it apart.
Oh, man.
But
hypercritical there.
Yeah. But I took her advice, and I spent a lot of time in his office, sometimes crying, sometimes not. And I came out with a B+ in the class, so.
Oh, there goes the show.
Stuck it to the man.
So, here's an interesting food for thought question.
Is it about food?
No, it is not.
I love food.
How do you think your favorite professor would describe you?
I don't know. Okay, so if you have not taken English 102 yet, you have to take Bob Ellis because he is literally one of the best professors at USC. And I would hope that he would describe me as fun-loving and creative and very caring.
Interesting. So, flip that. How do you think your least favorite professor would describe you, or the class that
I don't really have any least favorite professors. I feel like this next semester I'm taking some really tough classes, and they will probably describe me as lazy and the person that always falls asleep in class, because that does happen sometimes.
So, what are those?
We'll see.
So, can you describe to me one of the biggest mistakes you've made in college so far?
Made a few.
Just pick the biggest one.
Biggest one is I promised myself that I was never ever gonna drink till the day I die. I wasn't gonna have one sip of alcohol, and I think screwing that up is probably one of not only my biggest regrets in college, but one of my biggest life regrets.
And why do you think that?
Because it was something that I could hold myself to. It was saying that I am going to choose to do something responsible and healthy for me. That is a life decision. And screwing that up was probably just something that really hit me hard as where do I stand in my morals and my values, and where is my self-control?
What do you think you've learned from that?
I've learned that if you can't stick to your guns, don't make a promise you can't keep.
Okay. So how do you think you've changed personally since being in college?
I've become a lot more organized because my mom's not here to clean up after me. I've become more organized scholastically. I care a lot more about my grades, and high school grades were definitely not the most important, but in college, I really I got my dean's list certificate my first semester. I'm like, I want to keep this.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And I just that was something I wanted. So I care about my grades a lot more, and I feel more mature. I'm still the crazy, sometimes childish, who when I see a hawk in the sky, I'll say, ooh, look, a birdie. But, I feel like I've matured a lot, and especially this year, one thing that I'm learning and trying hard to do is to really stick up for myself and not be so passive.
So sort of, kind of take it as your own, obviously you kind of have to stick your foot out there, or you just can get run over.
I got to take the bull by the horns this year.
So what do you think your ideal job after college is? I know you touched on it a little bit, with Turner. Do you have a sort of a dream job you want to do?
I would like to really work for a movie company. I would really like to write. The main plan is to work for Turner in their ad and PR department, then move over to more of a production and broadcasting, and then sometime by the time I'm 40 or 50 is to just only be a writer, be nothing else but a writer, and do what I truly love.
Do you want to move out to Hollywood or anything?
No.
Or you want to stay
California
in
has
Georgia?
awful weather. I will be staying in Georgia, right here in Georgia.
Get all those Georgia productions going on.
Yeah, land's cheap. Don't see why not.
If you could start college all over again, knowing what you know now, what do you think you've done different?
What would I have done differently? This is probably going to sound really shallow. I've been trying to sound really smart, but no more 8:30s. Never ever again. You can do it in high school, but you get to college, and man, that 8:30 class is just a kicker. The worst was last semester. I thought I could do an 8:05 class.
Ooh, that
you
sounds
can't.
rough.
Never do it.
Wow, that's pretty intense there. All right, now moving into SGTV, the real juicy stuff here.
This is what the people came to listen for.
So, how'd you get started, or how'd you hear about it? Or
my mother told me I was required to go to the organization fair, so I did. And they said at the table that they had writing opportunities, and I was like, I like to write. I'll put my name down. And I definitely did not write until my second semester here is when I took over the writing for Hi Teresa. But I really fell in love with the narrative show, and I work on 2 other shows, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I found something that I didn't really think I'd be interested in, and I've turned out to love it.
Now, did you feel did you already have a lot of information or stuff that you know now, or did you learn a ton of stuff in a short amount of time?
I had never touched a video camera until I walked into this office.
Wow. So you come a long way since a year ago.
I have. I've learned 2 different editing softwares. I've learned a lot about sound equipment. I've held a lot of boom poles in my 3 semesters here.
So what shows have you been a part of? I know obviously SGTV has different programs that they run.
I was still part of Talk of the Town. I haven't been that active with that this semester because band really cuts into my ability to film that. I'm obviously a producer for Hi Teresa, and then I also I'm doing a segment called Balls of Steel for High Score Headquarters, which we play scary movies or scary video games, and that was very horrifying the last time. We played this game called One Late Night. Whew, that was scary.
But that's kind of like the whole film yourself and reactions kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
A little bit of Rooster Teeth. Yeah. That's kind of what High Score is our version of Rooster Teeth, just much less budget and as good as we can make it.
Yeah.
But Ryan and Tanner are great with special effects.
Yeah, they've helped me out a couple times to where I just don't even know half of Premiere. It's just like a fourth. All right, so now moving on to Hi Teresa. How did you first join that? Who ended up
They said it was a creative show, and so I thought that sounds cool. I wanted to be a writer. I really didn't write for it again my first semester, but definitely the 5 of us who originally showed up really helped with the conceptualizing of it with the old producer and the creator of the show, Sarah. And we just went from a little idea that she had to this completely crazy show that we now created.
So you actually helped out like with the conception, or was this all Sarah's characters? Did you actually help create out kind of the
actually,
ideas
it sounds
and
really
characters?
horrible, but between it was Hayden, Angia, Jake, Casey, myself, Michael, and Sarah. She had what she kind of wanted these characters to be, and then we like completely redid them, completely revamped them. I forgot Dee Dee, she was there too. We completely the only person that really stayed the same was Teresa, but she's also the most important character, so it turned out okay, but we completely redid like everything she had, and we just took this idea she had and we ran with it, and we ran hard, and it was an interesting first semester, to say the least.
That's awesome. I mean, probably not a lot of people get a chance to say they like TV shows and movies, and who says they actually get to create one and have practice with running it, and it just seems like it's a really good experience to have. Who do you think your favorite character is to write for?
Oh,
I know this is like your favorite child question here.
I do love them all, but my favorite character to write for would have to be Terry, just because of the amount of sass that I'm able to put into her character, and just the way she just delivers her character is what makes her so great.
Yeah, so sort of, it just seems like she's like a really kind of colorful, dynamic character, sort of all ends with that.
It could be Hey Terry, and honestly, it'd still be a
do
good
a
show.
spin-off. So what do you think the best part of working for Hi Teresa has been?
We've really created our own little dysfunctional family here, We hang out outside of filming, and there have been times that we've been filming for 8 hours straight to get stuff done, and it's crazy and it's tough, but it's really created bonds that I don't really have with a lot of other people here on campus.
Yeah, so kind of create your own little group of just working to that. What do you think's been the worst part, or something that's been bothering you from it, or anything?
It's a lot of it. It's the expression of too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Everyone wants to do their own thing, so the end result kind of gets a little muddled from the original goal. But it's still a good show.
Yeah, definitely. You have any funny stories you can tell me, like in past seasons, or even this season, that's kind of just something really hilarious happened on set, or in the writing room, or anything?
Well, there's been plenty of incidents with Jake. He definitely keeps the show interesting, but our first episode. So this was our second day filming the first meeting scene. We were in this room, like we were tired, we were hungry, we'd been doing this for hours, and we just can't get through this scene. We had 2 cameras, 2 mics, it took forever. Wow. And Hayden likes to improvise a bit, and but it's funny. And so I don't know if you've seen it, but the part where he goes on about the fox.
Oh yeah,
that
the first
was
scene,
never in the script. The part where he and Jake go back and forth and they start quoting Rihanna, that was never in the script. And so the first take they do it, we can't use those takes because literally everyone just starts cracking up dying. We had to do the take with the fox literally 30 times because that part when he jumps on himself, we literally would die every time. We were so sleep deprived and so hungry that everything was funny to us. But that one part just...
We got in the back here. It seems like that one episode seemed like that was really hard to film because it was just in the same spot for 18 minutes.
It was a really tough scene to do, and it was our first time filming. We didn't all really know what we were doing, so it just took so long.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you think you've gained from working on the show and other stuff?
I've gained a lot of experience. It all goes on my resume, but I've gained a lot more than that. I've gained professional knowledge and stuff that gives me the one edge in the professional world. But most importantly, I've gained a lot of friends. I could not go, that's what I'm excited to come back to. It's not, my friends in band or my sorority sisters. It's SGTV. This is my home. This office, I live in it, I sleep in it, I eat in it. SGTV is just something that's become so much of sort of an extended family for me and what really makes Carolina home for me.
Wow, that's awesome. You need to put that on a banner or something. So what's the I know the series finale's coming up at the end or whenever that works to it. What's it gonna be like for you, filming it and kind of being on the I guess imagine yourself being on the last scene. They finally
I will cry
close.
When we filmed the last scene of the show, just the way we've planned it and the way we've written it, I guarantee you I will cry. Andrea's gonna cry. I don't know about Jake and Dee Dee, they tend to be a little tougher. Marissa might cry. It's just it's been something that the 4 of us have been here from conception to the end of the show. So it's just something that's so strong and so special to us that it's going to be really sad.
Definitely. What's going to be, I know they're starting a new show or kind of coming up with a new one for next semester. What do you think your role is going to be, or what do you want your role to be for the next show?
I will be probably taking over the position of main producer. And so, I'll be there for the writers' meetings to facilitate, but I'm not going to be writing anymore. And I'll be there to facilitate and sort of plan and, keep everything organized. But I'm really going to take more of not a back seat, but maybe a passenger seat to this, because it's not going to be my show. It's going to be someone else's to run with and to create. And I want to be there to give them the best opportunities. So when they go to an employer and say, this is what I made, I can help them make something really good to show someone.
So you kind of just want to take a back seat to do other things, or do you still want to help out?
I want to be
and
involved, and I want to go to as many filmings as I can. I want to be there to edit. But, when it comes to the creative process of this show, I don't really think I'm going to be involved as I have been with Hi Teresa.
Mm-hmm. So for the next show, how is it going to be the process of choosing a new show? Is it going to be something where we kind of work as a team to
actually tonight I'm going to ask anyone who has an idea, because I've had a couple people approach me with their ideas. I'm going to say, I want you to pitch it to us in a professional pitch. And, they have to keep in mind how many people want to act for us and, kind of what we're capable of doing because we are a no-budget show. And just, basically give us a couple scenes, some character analysis, and then we'll sit there, Probably not at one of our regular meetings because we'll still be wrapping up Hi Teresa, but, just sit there at a meeting that all of us can make and sit there, go through everything, because it's also going to take a lot more than an hour. Say, we like this one best, but here are some ideas we have to make this agreeable and adaptable to who we are as a collective group.
Okay. All right, one last question for you here. What do you think, what do you plan on doing with SGTV coming into the next semester and from then on? Or you have any ideas you want to do, or any shows you want to get more involved with? Or
hopefully I'll be able to pick up involvement with High Score Headquarters and Talk of the Town. I'd really like to, keep doing that stuff because I do love doing those shows. And I just hope that I'm able to take whatever Hi Teresa is next to new heights and make it a better show than Hi Teresa was from start to finish.
All right, that sounds great. Well, thank you for joining me here, Margo. I appreciate you taking the time out of your pretty busy schedule to come talk to me.
It's eating cookie cake.
Yeah.
That's not even.
Yeah, all right. Well, this has been Interview with Margo. Sorry, what was your last name again? I can never get it right.
It's
Margo
okay.
Giordano.
You didn't even get it right then.
Whatever. Who cares? Pause.
Yeah, I had a flyer handed to me by Terry about the group, actually. I didn't know you were advertising for that now.
Well, we're